Lesson 1 of this series, we have estar with locations. Estar is an irregular verb, but it's not a crazy irregular verb. It's just I'd like to call it a baby irregular verb. You're going to have minor things changing. It's still an AR verb, so what you're going to do is you're still going to chop off the AR and add your appropriate endings. The difference is, if we look at yo, here for yo, you're going to chop off the AR, and instead of adding just an O, you're going to add OY. For tú, same thing. You're going to chop off the AR and add AS, but this time, look, we're going to add an accent mark to it. That's little accent mark is what's making it irregular. Same thing for él y usted. You're going to chop off the AR and add A, but don't forget the accent mark. If we go on to the other side of our chart, nosotros, that one, business as usual, just like your regular verb, estamos. But then it continues with vosotros. If you want to say y'all are, vosotros estáis. And then don't forget the accent mark. And ellos, ustedes, you're going to say están. Now, estar means to be. So when I break this down and I say yo estoy in the present tense, we're saying I am. Or when I say tú estás, you're basically saying you are. Same thing with we say él está, he is, ella está, she is, and so on and so forth. If you want to compare a side by side, here's estar, see how it's irregular, the colored parts, versus hablar. That's a regular verb. So it's the same thing. Look, it's for y'all, instead of OY, before we did O, and then down here we just have the 4 accent marks. So when I say it's irregular, yes, it's irregular, but it's not too much craziness happening there. It's a nice little baby step into the regular verb world. You're going to come across some irregular verbs, oof, they're just off the walls. This one, it's nice little baby steps. If you're talking about objects, if you're talking about one object, like one thing, you would say está. Like if I'm talking about the phone is on the desk, then it would be está because it's one phone. If I want to say the phones are on the desk, then I would say están. This is just for clarification, because when I say yo estoy, and tú estás, and nosotros estamos, we're talking about people. When it comes to things, one está, more than one están. Also, something to keep in mind, if you're already familiar with this, yes, estar and ser both mean the same thing. They both mean to be. So when you say yo estoy, you're saying I am. When you say yo soy, I am. Tú estás, you are. Tú eres, it means you are. They mean the same thing, but they're used in different situations. We're going to just focus right now on estar. It's a little bit more approachable, and it's easier to manage. You're going to use estar when you're talking about where something is and where something, how someone or something feels or their condition. So for right now, let's pretend like we don't know ser exists. We'll come back to that another time and focus on the easier one, estar. If it helps, I have this rhyme for you. You could think of whenever you need to use estar, just tell yourself this rhyme. How you feel, where you are, always use the verb estar. So if you come across a situation, you're like, oh, which one should I use, ser or estar? Just ask yourself, am I talking about how you feel? Yes? All right, use estar. Are you talking about how where something is? Yeah? Use that. If not, default to the other one. That's a nice way to kind of get started with this. Now let's practice. Fill in the blanks with the correct form of estar in the present tense. So if we're talking about Mariana, she's in the science class. We're going to have to take estar and conjugate that for her. Conjugating means just chop off the ending, put the correct ending, and we're doing present tense here. So like Mariana, we're going to say está en la clase de ciencias. Don't forget the X mark. Go ahead and pause the video, figure this out on your own, and when you're done, unpause it and check your answers here with me. Okay, we're assuming that you did all these on your own, no cheating. And here's the answers with explanations. Mariana está en la clase de ciencias. You're saying she is in the science class. We're talking about location, that's why you use está. Number 2, Lupe y yo. All right, guys, anytime you say y yo, assume you're invited, it's now a we thing, party. So that one, you say, Lupe y yo estamos en el gimnasio. We are in the gymnasium. Again, we're talking about location here. Number 3, I try to trick you. That's a little stinky. I said, Ana, cama, tú, so estás en la clase de coro. No, I was tricking you because I was saying, hey, Anna, comma, you are in choir class. No, that comma was an indicator I was talking to her. That one was sneaky. Number 4, Miguel y Camilo, so we're talking about they. Ellos means they, so that one's going to get están. Miguel y Camilo están en el laboratorio. They're in the laboratory, lab. And we're talking about they. Ellos means they. Number 5, yo estoy en el estadio para la práctica. I am in the stadium for practice. And finally, number 6, this one's tricky. Tatiana y tú, now we're saying, hey, you and Tatiana. So essentially we're saying you plural, or as we like to say here in Texas, y'all. Y'all are at school. So since we're doing y'all, you have 2 choices. You can say estáis, the Spain version, vosotros, or you can say están, the regular y'all, ustedes. All right, good job, and look for some more answers in the following videos.